From the Albuquerque Journal, this is the leading news. I'm Gino Gutierrez. It's Friday, July 10th. Here's what we're covering on today's episode. New Mexico is considering new rules for its universal childcare program that are drawing mixed reactions from providers across the state. The proposed changes would require childcare centers that participate in the program to spend at least 57% of their revenue on wages for teachers and administrators, while also requiring providers to report employee wage data to the state. Many childcare owners argue the 57% requirement is too rigid and could threaten the financial stability of their businesses, with some urging the state to lower the minimum to 45%. Supporters say the changes are needed to comply with a new state law that established universal childcare and created a wage and career ladder designed to improve pay for childcare workers. Some providers also support collecting wage data to help shape future policy, though advocates are calling for stronger privacy protections for employees. State officials say they'll review public feedback before making a final decision on the proposed rules, which are expected to be finalized in the coming weeks. Since launching last year, New Mexico's universal child care program has enrolled more than 44,000 children and is projected to cost the state about $606 million in the next fiscal year. New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres says the U.S. Department of Justice is standing in the way of the state's renewed criminal investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's ties to New Mexico by refusing to provide unredacted investigative files. In a letter to acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche, Torres said months of requests have gone unanswered, warning that delays make it harder to locate witnesses, verify evidence, and could even jeopardize potential criminal charges if the statutes of limitation expire. The investigation focuses on Epstein's former Zorro Ranch near Stanley, which state investigators searched in March after reopening the case in February. A previous state investigation was halted in 2019 after federal prosecutors promised to share evidence that, according to state officials, was never provided. Torres said the heavily redacted records released publicly are not enough to build a case, and has offered to comply with federal confidentiality requirements if granted access to the full files. Meanwhile, a state truth commission created this year to examine how Epstein operated in New Mexico say 2 federal agencies have already declined to comply with subpoenas seeking records related to the case. New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres has also launched an investigation into allegations that fraudulent public comments were submitted in support of a proposed microgrid project tied to Oracle and OpenAI's Project Jupiter data center in Santa Teresa. The investigation follows complaints from residents and elected officials who say comments backing the project's air quality permit were submitted under their names without their knowledge or consent. Torres says his office believes a potentially significant number of comments may have been fraudulent and is working with the New Mexico Environment Department to review the submissions. Oracle says it does not support any misuse of the public comment process and is reviewing every question submission. The company says the online portal it sponsored also transmitted hundreds of comments opposing the project and pledged to cooperate with the investigation. The Environment Department says it also believes many comments may have been submitted fraudulently and is prepared to pursue civil or criminal action if any wrongdoing is confirmed. A public hearing on the project's air quality permit has been ordered, though a date has not yet been announced. Public safety is emerging as the central issue in New Mexico's closely watched race for the 2nd Congressional District, where incumbent Democrat Gabe Vasquez and Republican challenger Greg Cunningham are offering competing records and priorities ahead of November's election. Vasquez is highlighting his work in Congress to secure more than $1 million for Albuquerque's Real-Time Crime Center and funding for law enforcement projects in Carlsbad. He also points to bipartisan legislation aimed at combating drug cartels and fentanyl tracking, along with continued outreach to law enforcement agencies along the U.S.-Mexico border. Cunningham, a former Albuquerque police detective, is making his law enforcement background a focal point of his campaign, arguing that violent crime and fentanyl remain major concerns for New Mexicans. He also criticized Vasquez's past comments on criminal justice reform and has earned endorsements from the Albuquerque Police Officers Association and several county sheriffs. The race is expected to be one of the nation's most competitive House contests, with both parties viewing New Mexico's 2nd District as critical to determining control of the U.S. House after the November election. And in sports news, the NCAA tournament will not be returning to Albuquerque's pit just yet. The NCAA announced this week that Wichita State will join Dayton as host sites for the men's basketball tournament's new opening round games in 2027 and 2028. This follows the expansion of the tournament field from 68 to 76 teams. Albuquerque was among the finalists, but ultimately was not selected. UNM athletic director Ryan Berryman says the university received positive feedback about the pit and the city through the bidding process, but said the NCAA NCAA favored a centrally located site in the Central Time Zone to make travel easier for teams selected on short notice. The pit last hosted NCAA tournament games in 2012, and while it no longer meets NCAA requirements for later round tournament games, it was eligible to host the opening round. The venue also received national support because of its passionate fan base and rich tournament history, including the unforgettable 1983 national championship won by NC State. Despite the setback, UNM says it plans to continue bidding to host future NCAA opening round games and other championship events. The Leading News is powered by the journalism of the Albuquerque Journal. If you enjoy hearing all of the stories we share with you here daily, please consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Journal by utilizing the discount code in our show notes. Every subscription helps support local journalism and allows us to provide you with the news that matters to you. Now taking a look at Albuquerque's weather forecast. Today you can expect sunny and hot skies with a high near 101 degrees, and as for this evening, partly cloudy with a low around 69. To keep up with all the latest news from the Albuquerque Journal, you can visit our website at abqjournal.com. That's the Leading News. I'm Gino Gutierrez. We'll be back on Monday.